Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some soft dried plum squares or bars. So it's going to have some an oat and flour base and an oat and flour crumbled over the top, and then the filling is going to be some soft dried plums which I bought, and I actually forgot that I'd bought them and bought a second bag. Now soft dried plums are very similar to prunes, so if you can't get soft dried plums, you can certainly use prunes, but I wouldn't use the dried ones. I'd use the ones that you can get in a can and drain off the syrup and then let them drain out and then use those. So it's very simple, and you start off by preheating the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. That's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and I have lined an 8-inch cake tin with parchment paper, a square cake tin. Now you can use a shallower one than this. I've used this one specifically because it has square corners. The shallower ones I have tend to have rounded corners, which would be fine, but I just prefer the squared off version. So we start off with that, and then I'll go on to the ingredients. And for this I just want to show you what the soft dried plums look like. So that's them basically, and as I said, they look very similar to prunes, slightly softer probably, but very good. And what I've done is I've taken 250 grams of that, which is 1.5 cups, and I have chopped them very finely indeed, almost into a paste. You can chop them less finely if you want to, but I've chopped them like that. And then I have 60 grams, 3 tablespoons of apricot jam, which I'm going to mix into the plums. And then to go for the base and for the top, I have 180 grams, 2 cups of rolled oats. I have 65 grams, half a cup minus 1 tablespoon of plain flour, 125 grams, 10 tablespoons of packed light brown sugar, 1.5 grams, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3 grams, half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 grams, half a teaspoon of baking powder. I have 21 grams, 1.5 tablespoons of very soft butter, and I have 1 medium egg, which would be large in the USA. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually to mix my plum filling, and I'm going to do that in a slightly larger bowl. I just want to mix my apricot jam into that. Stir it around. And that's good like that, so I'll set it to one side, and then we have to mix everything else together. And to start off with, I'm going to put the baking powder, the salt and the cinnamon into the flour, and I'll just give that a little bit of a stir to get those mixed in a bit. They're easier to mix into the flour than once it's in with the oats. That's good. So then I'm going to put my sugar and my flour into the oats, and I'm going to stir those around to get those mixed together. And the brown sugar tends to clump, so you can break it up with a fork or whatever. and that's well enough mixed. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk my egg with my butter, just to get that combined. You could melt the butter and let it cool, but because I've got it very, very soft, I think that would be fine. I'm just going to whisk that to break it up and get it combined. And that's good. So then I'm going to pour that into the dry mixture. And I'm going to stir it around until it starts to clump together. And if I see any lumps of sugar, I'll break those up. And as that starts to clump, I'm going to use my hand to make sure I get it mixed thoroughly. So that's clumping. So what I'm going to do is get my hand in there and just mix it until all the dry ingredients are coated in the egg and butter. So that's mixed in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that, and what I'm just going to weigh out 1/4 cup. So I'm going to take about 320 grams of my mixture. Like that, and I'm going to spread that over the base, and I'm actually going to press that down until it's well packed, and that's well packed like that. And that's just my oven coming to temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then put my filling on, and I'm going to spread that over the top. I'm just going to press that down and spread it without disturbing the base. So that's nicely spread across the base. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle the remaining mixture on the top. And with that sprinkled on the top like that, I'm just going to press it down very gently. Like that. And I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for 22 minutes. And after 22 minutes I'll take it out of the oven and I will leave it in the tin until it's cooled quite well, maybe about 20 minutes, until it's firmed up a little bit. Then I take it out of the tin and put it onto a wire rack and leave it to cool completely. And once it's cooled completely, I can come back and show you the results and we'll have a taste. I baked the soft dried plum squares or bars for 22 minutes. I took it out of the oven and allowed everything to cool in the cake tin for probably actually about an hour. Then I pulled it out of the cake tin and cut it into squares and put it on a wire rack to cool completely. So this is what it looks like now. And I cut it into 16 squares. Here's 15 of them. The 16th one is on a plate and I've already had a nibble, but I'll have another taste now. It has that lovely, rich, deep flavour from the soft dried plum, with a little bit of apricot jam giving extra sweetness to it, with a nice firm base and the crumbly top as well. Very, very good. Very easy to make as well, I have to say. So that's going to be it for this recipe. So I think it's very worthwhile, and these are the sorts of things that you could cut into larger portions and serve with some custard as a dessert or something if you wanted to, but eating them just as a square or a bar is very good as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.